Hello, I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Welcome to a new episode of ATV-TALK and Motorsports Podcast. Please join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you interviews with industry professionals, live events, live news about the motorsports industry in every episode. Enjoy the show. Cam, Jace, welcome to ATV Talk. How are you guys?
Sweet.
Good, man. Good.
Hey, I thank you guys for coming out. I know that this has been weeks in the process, but we appreciate the San Diego Stangs. Everybody, this is a Mustang club, and everybody has to know I'm a Ford guy. I love Fords, and I appreciate it. I cannot believe that they found a club with Mustangs to come and sit down with us. As we get into the conversation, you guys are going to tell us a little bit about your cars and the exclusiveness of the club. How many members are there?
There's roughly right now, we're looking at 25. Before we used to have chapters, they had North County, East County was like El Cajon, El Centro area, but it's kind of shrunk down a little bit. So now we're sitting at about 25 members.
Excellent.
So,
excellent.
Yeah.
And are both of your guys' cars show cars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And you drive them every day?
I used to. So I dailied my car for about 2 years, and then after that, I was like putting too many miles on it. Want to relax, so got a daily. But
for me, now my Mustang is my daily driver. It's kind of also the build and like the take I've been going at it is to build it for peak performance meets a daily driving vehicle.
Okay, all right. I'm going to ask this question, and you guys can just fill in about membership. How long you guys have been involved in the club.
Yeah.
Cam, how about you?
So I originally joined when I got back from Japan for overseas, so late December 2021. Pulled up to one of the monthly meets. It was at a mall and saw the cars there, and I was like blown away. And I was like, how do I join? How do I become a part of this? And then from there, just built my car up, and then ended up getting a banner, and it's been history ever since. So now I'm going on almost 4 years.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
How long have you been a Mustang fan?
Oh, Mustang fan, honestly, ever since probably high school. So, fell in love with actually his body style, which is the S197, and then the new S550 came out. Solo started in 2015, and then I just knew from there I wanted a Mustang. So, pretty cool.
Wow. Jace, how long have you been in the club?
For me, I've been in the club roughly 8 to 9 months now. I'm still in the prospecting portion of the club. I have to do a few more modifications and hang around a little bit longer before I could finally get fully bannered. But as things are going, I'm heading in the right direction. I just took home my first trophy at a car show for the Fusion car shows that go on here in California. It was me and 2 other members from the club that took home the whole Ford class, first, second, and third place. So I got a third place best Ford out of maybe like 50 Fords that were there.
That's awesome. So you mentioned bannered.
Mm-hmm.
Cam, why don't you explain that to me just a little bit so that everybody understands what it means, so that's a legitimate thing to get bannered.
Yeah, so obviously everybody comes around. Most of the time their cars are stock, or they might have slight modifications. So pretty much in order to get a banner, you have to use some of the basic modifications. So we're talking about lowering springs, or potentially airbagging your car, potentially a wrap if you want to. If not, basics are just wheels, couple exterior mods if you want to put a wing, a hood, something like that. And then really from there, just that you show up. That's the main thing. And then our president is really big on autism. So the only thing we really ask is that you make a donation to autism once we feel that your car is good enough to be banned.
Oh, nice.
So
there's more to it
Yes.
than just being a member of the show
Yes.
or the group
Absolutely.
and going out and taking care of the cars. That's
Yeah.
freaking outstanding.
Yeah.
How many shows do you guys do a year?
Roughly, well, yeah, you haven't actually been able to experience a full year yet,
Yeah.
but yeah, we used to be really active. Like, we were talking about every weekend. We were out there driving. We do shows. We've been to Vegas. We've been to Fresno area, all the way up north. We're talking about 5-hour drives, just to support these shows and hopefully bring home a trophy or two. But yeah, roughly on average for a year, I'd say probably anywhere from 20 to 25 shows, probably.
How many of the members trailer their car to the shows?
Oh, I don't think we have any.
None. Everybody drives.
Everybody drives.
That's one of the coolest things about our club is seeing like 20 of the most beautiful Mustangs you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
All drive down the freeway at once, and how many necks we break, and how many little kids are just like in awe is like one of the coolest feelings that I've personally ever experienced. And it's one of the key reasons that I enjoy being in the club is just the fact that we do that. So every single month we have a monthly meetup where we'll all park somewhere, eat some grub, shoot it, talk about all the stuff that's going on, upcoming events, and then we do a monthly cruise where we could drive anywhere from San Diego to the desert, San Diego to Oceanside, North County, and there'll be 30 of us from the club, and then we'll have maybe like 5 to 6 other cars that want to start hanging around, and it's just like it's one of the coolest things.
So if I had a Mustang and I met you at Jack in a Box and said, hey, we're having a drive this weekend, why don't you come join us? I could come and drive with you guys and hang out with you, even though I'm not banned or part of the club.
Yeah, absolutely. He's probably noticed it too, but some of the times we'll actually be on a cruise and we'll just get random cars like behind us that just join in like mid-cruise. So we might start off with, 20 cars, and then when we get to where we're going to eat or chill out, we'll have like 40 cars.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And they just join right into the group?
They just join right in, yeah. Yep. So it's pretty crazy. So
excellent.
It was funny, a couple months back we actually had a cruise where we were driving through the mountains out here in Pine Valley all the way to, what was that, East Lake? Was over there?
Yeah.
And so that was San Diego Stangs, our club, and then we had the Audi group of San Diego. They joined us for the pre-meet, maybe 15 of their cars, something like that. So we had maybe like 40 to 50 cars all in that cruise. And it was really funny because they all printed out little GT badges, like Ford GT badges, and then taped them on their Audis. So they were like pretending to be Mustangs with us on the cruise.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. How much interaction between the car clubs are there? Because I know there's guys that are the Camaro guys and the Dodge guys, and so do you guys all get together and hang out and show your cars off?
Yeah, absolutely. We just went I think it was last week or two weeks ago, I want to say, to another club out here called Sinister SoCal. They hosted a breast cancer awareness event, so they had raffles. Food was great.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah, amazing food. But yeah, we do sometimes collab with other clubs, especially for events like that. We just want to show that we're more than a car club. We're out here supporting the community and just trying to make a difference, really.
Yeah.
So what does being part of San Diego Stangs mean to you?
For me, honestly, it's everything. Been with it for 4 years now, and it's kind of an escape from reality, honestly. Obviously, I love what I do as far as work, active duty military, but during the weekends when you can just take your car out of the garage and go for a drive, meet up with some friends, and just have fun, it's a blast. So it's been everything for me the past 4 years, and I love it. So
Well, the smile says it all.
Yeah.
What about you, Chase?
Honestly, I couldn't agree any more with what Cam said. For me, it's very, very similar to what he said. Joining this club really helped me because I was leaving a really dark place in my life right before getting into the club, and just being around such nice people that no one has ever said anything disrespectful. it's really all love, and it's really like a family outside of your own family. You know, the vibe from everyone is all love. Everyone wants to help take care of each other. If you ever have an issue with your car, I can't even tell you how many of us are personal mechanics that will just sit there and free labor, you know, to help one another build each other up. And it really is awesome.
So when you got the opportunity to come on a show that's not related to Mustangs, what was your first reaction?
I was like, let's do it, you know, because the whole goal is to really get the awareness of different. Motorsport is obviously super huge. I mean, you're talking everything from airplanes to boats to cars to off-roading, everything. So any chance that I get, I feel like to learn about another motorsport, it's an awesome opportunity. So,
Excellent. How about you, Jace?
Oh, for me, I was all into it. You know, I grew up racing dirt bikes. I raced at Glen Helen, Verona, right here in our backyard.
Right.
You know, everywhere, really. And I did a lot of desert racing, all the District 38 races, AMA races. You know, so I've been into the off-roading scene since I was 5 years old, jumping 5-foot gaps on a CRF 50. You know, so I was super into it, and then I was like, you know what? I think this is going to be a really good outcome for me, knowing what it's like in the off-road world, and then also, you know, the car culture of San Diego.
Well, my dad was one of the founders of the Verona Hidden Valley Speedway.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Back long before you two guys were born. But yeah, it's pretty awesome that there's so many things that are tied together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Talking about trick Mustangs and modifications, I know that this is taboo, street drag racing. Do you guys go to specific drag strips to run your cars, or are there permits that you can pull to do like street takeovers, things like that?
The main thing for our club, we're really number one, we definitely don't support takeovers at all.
Yeah. Strongly against that.
Yeah, strongly against those. We try to do everything we can to disassociate ourselves from that, especially for cars that are bannered that are associated with San Diego Stangs. We definitely don't condone any of that info or any of those takeovers at all. But yeah, we've had members race at Verona. Probably a couple, I think, went up to Pomona a couple of times too to run their car. But mainly our car club is mainly for kind of more shows. So obviously going around, driving around breaking necks, or going to a car show trying to win some trophies. So,
Excellent. Because noise is an issue in our industry, do you guys have an issue with noise on the street?
Of course, it's kind of, I want to say it's kind of inevitable being in California, one of the most, you know, modified exhaust restricted areas in America. You know, there's definitely certain loopholes, you know, when you're involved this much into the motorsport industry, there's things you can do to get around stuff and, you know, keep things as legal as possible, but, you know, also as loud as you can make it. So it just really depends on your take on it. And then other than that, you know, it depends, like if you're really gonna, you know, stay California resident, or if you know, have someone in a different state, you could register your car out there, and, you know, you can have a little bit more fun with your exhaust and, you know, making it loud. Obviously, there's other things, like if you're gonna turbo your car, that makes a noise. Having a sound system that makes noise, and, you know, so it just depends how limited you want to allow yourself to be, I would say.
Yeah.
Cam, I noticed your car had lights that change color.
Yeah.
Is that something that's an issue for you when you drive on the street with those lights that change color?
No, not at all. It has, so the headlights operate the same as your same OEM ones would. So the colors are mainly just for like a showpiece. So really I only turn them on if I'm at like a car show or a car meet. And then the car's just off, stationary, parked, and now I'll just turn on the lights. But I usually don't like to drive with them on because the car already gets enough attention as it is. So I'm like, I'm not trying to get any more cop attention. So, yeah.
One of the things that I've been told for years is the worst color car you could have is red. Is that still the case, or is it just a modified car catches their eye?
Honestly, I don't think that's the case anymore. I would say, you know, maybe in the early years, like if you had a red car with black or white race stripes, you know, you're going to get some unwanted attention for sure. But now it's actually turned into a situation in California specifically where, you know, a cop or any law enforcement cannot just target you for you having a nice car, because it's like, what's the point in having a nice vehicle if you're just going to be targeted and singled out all the time? So unless you're really caught, you know, street racing or driving recklessly, that's like the biggest thing right now, is driving recklessly is what you will get pulled over and harassed for immediately. They'll make you pop your hood. You could risk getting a state ref, you know, having to turn your car all the way back to stock. Even if you don't have performance parts on your car, they can make you do that just for body work. If they really want to be, you know.
How does reckless driving turn into popping the hood?
That's a good question.
You know what? It's an excuse, really, is what it is. And depending whether you know your laws or not, you could be taken advantage of very quickly.
Okay.
So I highly suggest everyone, you know, research your stuff. If you're going to get into this lifestyle, you know your rights.
So that brings me to what is one of my biggest questions to both of you. You saw what I do in modification of the ATVs, and we talked about suspension and motor mods. How do we connect the two industries together so that the listener can understand what it's like to modify a Mustang compared to modifying their ATV? You know, when you get into the suspension mods, you mentioned airbags.
Yeah, honestly, airbags, it's one of the more obviously expensive modifications you can do. The main reason I really got it was not only does it look good at shows when your car is slammed, but the functionality, I think, is the biggest part of it. I don't have to worry anymore about scraping, say going over speed bumps. If there's a curb that's super indented, you know, I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I just air up the car and then I'm good to go. And then when I go to these shows and I just want to lower my car, slam it to the ground, I'm good to go. A common misconception, a lot of people think the maintenance is crazy on it. And honestly, it's really not. It's pretty simple. You just have to do your research, understand what you're working with. Similar to off-roads, you have to know springs, you have to know shocks. You got to know brakes, you have to know all that stuff. It's kind of the same with our cars too. If you're getting into heavily modifying, then yeah, definitely have to know about suspension. My girlfriend is actually an off-roader. She drives a 4Runner, so that's where I got most of my off-road suspension stuff from. So as far as like knowledge and knowing.
Okay.
So.
And you come from a motorcycle industry, so you understand the build process. Being that you've built motorcycles, do you think that the build process for building your car is this, you know, takes the same lines? Where can you take them to the frame and build them up that way?
100%. You know what? I think it is like really exactly the same at the end of the day. It's turning wrenches and, you know, sweating and getting grease on your hands. So I think it is very similar. For me, you know, before I even got to work on a cool car, I was taking apart my YZ85s, YZ125s, CRF 450Rs, rebuilding up from the frame up, just to, peek inside the cylinder head, see what's going on, clean it, make sure everything's okay, jetting my own dirt bikes, everything from that to suspension. I never did too much personal suspension work. Shout out to Mark at M&M Off-Road. He was out here in San Diego a few years ago, moved out to Arizona. That's where he's at now.
Right, he's in Yuma.
Yeah, he's in Yuma.
Yep.
A really cool guy. His kid is a friend of mine too. He helped with a lot of my suspension. My uncle Ryan Stevens is a racer for Baja 1000. He's best friends with Mark. And, so at a very young age, he helped me start doing my suspension on all my bikes. And then I would take off my suspension all by myself at 12 years old, 13 years old, go, ride my BMX bike with my suspension in a big bag down the street. When he was in El Cajon, I was in Santee, and I would drop off my suspension, then ride my BMX bike back the next day, and, take the parts back home and put everything back together.
So do you work on your car yourself?
Yeah.
You do all of the work yourself?
So I do a lot of it myself. I work full-time as a residential plumber. I do a lot of side work. So, between having a full-time life, really, and then, a hobby that takes a lot of time also, sometimes I might not have all the time in the world and I might need an extra set of hands. This, again, shout out to my buddy Andrew Thurman at Gary's Auto Garage in Santee. He helps me do a lot of work on my car. If I need to just get it on a car lift, start wrenching on stuff, maybe I need access to some snap-on tools or something else. I would say all of us in the club kind of have our own, people outside of the club that give us a hand with things. So, we don't all take all the credit for our own vehicles. There's definitely other people that have helped us with things, but yeah, if I have something going on with my car, I'm going to start wrenching on it, figure out what it is, and, I want to be as hands-on as possible, save as much money as possible for, that next part, right? So...
Well, Cam, when I was asking that question, you were nodding along.
Yeah.
How much actual work beans your lifestyle do you get to do on your car, or do you have to take it in to a specialist?
Honestly, it depends on a lot of the work. The good thing is being with the club for so long, you honestly do a lot of networking, and you figure out, you meet a lot of people that are experts on these cars for everything. Some of them have even driven Mustangs or own Mustangs themselves, so they're already basically subject matter experts on like where to go. For me, honestly, I won't handle anything like engine wise. It's crazy, but as far as cosmetics or anything that's like pretty small, I'll just have the car in the garage, get up on a Saturday, and then do whatever installs I got to do. As far as anything with the airlift, as far as install, I did not do anything because I do not trust myself with that. But anything other than that, honestly, it's pretty easy to work on these cars.
This air system that you guys were talking about earlier before we started taping, is that installed by a custom body shop, or could you do it yourself?
You can definitely do it yourself. They have authorized dealers out there where you can take in the car with just the full kit, and then they'll throw it on for you. Luckily, most of the cars in the club are actually on air. Yeah. So we have about 2 or 3 people that know how to just install another way around it, like everything. So.
How about the scoops and the spoiler and all that? Did you put all that on?
Yeah, all that stuff is super simple. I usually just throw that stuff on myself. It's just a couple of nuts and some bolts, so it's pretty easy.
Excellent.
So,
excellent.
Yeah.
When you do research for your cars, is it just like getting down onto Google and start looking, or are you going to car companies and physically looking at their product?
Honestly, in my opinion, for me, it's more, I feel like I don't have the time to go to so many places and see what's out. For me, it's a lot of seeing what's new online, kind of online shopping, then seeing, for me, being new to the club, I get to go off a lot of the other club members' builds and pick and choose what things I kind of want to, you know, take into consideration and how I could utilize that and not be, you know, copying somebody else. You know, the other thing is kind of how far in depth I think you want to go with that. So like, I wouldn't say Google's like my go-to, but I personally, I YouTube everything since, you know, being 13 years old, working on my dirt bike. Even to this day, I'm YouTubing stuff for my car, what problems, you know, other people have that have had the car put on 300,000 miles and what issues they run into at that period, just so I can be prepared.
Okay.
Like, right.
I mean, that's a younger way of doing it.
Yeah.
You know, because we didn't have that.
Exactly.
Back in my day.
Right.
Yeah. So how do you keep San Diego Stangs relevant to the youth? Okay, you guys are both pretty young.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have younger people that are getting into where when they're 16 or maybe even younger, starting to get involved with Mustangs. So how do you guys bring the younger people into the group?
I think it's a lot with the social media. Definitely Instagram is like a big thing. Everybody's on Instagram. I don't know, I'm personally not as much on TikTok, but I'm sure a lot of the other guys are on TikTok a lot. But yeah, it's definitely social media. That's the main way to get to people. And for me, I've had multiple people on base, off base, just come up. They'll see my car. They'll be like, "Hey man, like I got a Mustang too, or I'm trying to get into even just muscle cars in general or sports cars." And they'll be like, "Hey bro, like what do you think about this? What do you think about that?" And just pointing them in the right direction and just being like, "Hey, social media, man." Like it's everywhere, you know. You can just get an idea for your car just by scrolling on Instagram for 5 minutes, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that. I don't really like that," you know. So I think it's mainly just social media reaching out to the younger gen.
You agree with that? You agree with that?
Well, yes, and then I could even answer it a little bit better because I fall into this question. You know, the club's been around for a long time. Actually, the club's been established longer than I've been alive. And, you know, when I was 15, 16 years old, I went to a car show at Verona Speedway right here, and SD Stangs was set up there. And, you know, I was 15, 16 years old. The car I have, the 2014 S197 5.0, it's been my dream car since it came out. And, you know, the body style came out in 2011, 12, and then they kind of changed it for 13 and 14. You know, they changed it because they were going to be shooting the Need for Speed movie. That movie is part of what made me fall in love with that car also. But that day, going to that car show, I saw, you know, other car clubs and, you know, what they were doing. You know, being in mind, that was my dream car. And I saw all these beautiful Mustangs, the coolest Mustangs I've ever seen in my life. Whether it was Mustangs I've seen on Instagram in different parts of the world, these were the coolest Mustangs I've ever seen. And the vibe, as soon as you walked up, the vibe from everyone, I've never seen so many different people from so many different cultures laughing, talking, and just, it honestly was awesome. And I was like, this is what I want to do one day. And, you know, I got a little bit older, worked hard. I've always worked a manual labor job, honest work, honest money. And, you know, I was able to purchase that Mustang, do a couple things before I started hanging around. And, you know, I had a really good first day meeting the club, you know, professionally for the first time, introducing myself with introducing my car at the same time. And, you know, Cam was one of the first people to come up to me and, you know, be like, "Dude, you got to come around, come to the cruise. It's in, you know, 2 more weeks." I went to that cruise. I've never stopped smiling since that day.
Nice. So you guys have both seen the movie Gone in 60 Seconds, right?
Of course.
Is that car real?
Yes.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
I don't know. I honestly, I would have to see like a preview or something from it.
What's her name?
It sounds really
Gloria?
Eleanor.
Eleanor.
Yeah.
Eleanor.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen pictures, but I've never known anybody to ever have seen her. You know.
Yeah.
And I sure hope they didn't break her mirror off for real.
No, I don't think so.
It had to have been a stunt car, right?
I would hope so.
Are things like that when you get to watch them on TV
Yeah.
another reason for the love of Mustangs, or is it just the fact that that's just the car that you fell in love with?
I think it is a little bit, yeah. I mean, you see like commercials. Obviously, they have the car in movies like Jace said, Need for Speed. I mean, yeah, that made you fall in love with the S197. But yeah, having the car, seeing it on social media, movies, all that types of stuff, the commercials. Yeah, it just makes you want one. Like, I don't know what it is. It's just, if you're an automotive person and you love cars, I mean, just seeing that, you know, hearing the car, hearing the engine, falling in love with the body style. I mean, you just want one. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's just an emotion, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you guys got coming up next for you guys?
As far as mods or
Let's go with what's the next event,
Okay.
and then we'll get into what's the next mod.
Gotcha.
I think the next biggest event coming up is SEMA. I don't know if we're going out this year. It's in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm sure a lot of the listeners are very aware of SEMA.
Yes.
It's huge for off-road, for one.
Yeah.
It's like half of the show is off-road. And then I would say the other half is a quarter hyper supercars, new ones that haven't been released yet.
Yeah.
So one thing that the new Mustang GTD is definitely going to be at SEMA. So I really want to go. I really hope we go out as a club so that I could go see that car. And, you know, it would be cool for us to be a part of that show. I don't know if we're going to do it this year. And then other than that, I don't know what our next event will be coming up. We just had one this last weekend or 2 weekends ago was the Fusion one?
Yeah,
This last
Fusion.
week?
Yeah, it
It
was
was
about
last
2 weeks
weekend,
ago. Yeah.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
That was the car show that we had just competed at, and my first time winning a trophy with my build.
That's cool. So, what's the next mod you're gonna do?
So next mod for me, I'm trying to get some RGB taillights. So pretty much, viewers will see in the video, but my headlights pretty much change color. Trying to do the same with the taillights essentially, just to build a more complete show car. So they're in Texas right now, getting worked on, getting the custom LEDs put in. So I'm really excited to get those back, get them on the car.
You're buying custom taillights from a manufacturer in Texas to make them light like your headlights.
Essentially, yes. So I already had the taillights from the manufacturer. It's kind of just shipping it to a guy that works on all those lights and the LEDs. And he's based out of Texas. So I had to ship them off to him. He got them, and then he's putting in some work on them right now. So excited to get those back and get
That's
them on the
so
car.
cool. What about you? What's your next mod?
So I actually have like 3 things in the works right now, and then I have something else I can't say yet. The listeners and, you know, my fan base is gonna have to wait because it's gonna be big and it's gonna be a surprise.
You're gonna have to let us know
Yeah.
as soon as it's ready.
Yes, no, 100%. But a couple of the smaller things I got going on. One of our other club members and prospect, Falati, he has the same platform as me. That's a S197. He's also one of the only other S197s in San Diego that has a 4-inch cowl hood like myself. He's starting a business right now, custom making steering wheels. So I just purchased one that's should be here in about the next week or so. That's custom forged carbon fiber to go with the forged carbon fiber I have on the outside of the vehicle. And then it has like white leather on it to go with the white leather seat. Why I have black and white is like the inside coloring scheme of my vehicle. So it's gonna be white leather, forged carbon fiber, and then the center where the airbag is a custom coyote emblem that I just got the custom coyote badges for the side of my car too. So we're gonna throw all that on at once. And so that's one of like the cool things I'm doing as far as like interior meets styling. And then the other thing I got going on is I just got my iBox Sportline lowering springs that are gonna, right now I have stock suspension in the back with, I already have the adjustable panhard bar you need to lower my car. You have to have an adjustable panhard bar because it's a solid axle. So if you lower it, your axle is gonna shift. Either it could shift anywhere from 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch to the left or to the right, and it won't be sitting correctly. So I already have that, just got the springs. hopefully this next weekend I could get one of our other club members, Danny. His tag is Lethal SVT. He has a beautiful GT500, a beautiful older Saline, or late 90s.
Yeah.
And then his lady has a very beautiful EcoBoost. That's I would say one of the coolest builds we have in our car club also. If I could get him this next weekend, we're gonna throw on those lowering springs. It'll drop it in the back about 2.5 inches, and in the front about 2 inches, because my car kind of comes stink bug a little bit. So I already have control arms in the front and spindles. So we're gonna do the springs, and then she should be sitting pretty nice.
So your design car and your design car, they don't look like the same at all. You have more the street racer look. You have more just the old muscle car look.
Yeah.
Are you going to put a spoilers or any of the aero kit on your car to change the way it looks at all?
So I already have, as far as a spoiler, I already have the GT500 wing on there. And then I'm trying to figure out how far I want to go with the aero kit. I will be doing a lip on the front for the front bumper soon.
That's what I was thinking about.
And I may or may not go with the supporting tie rods that go from your bumper to the lip. So I'm kind of debating if I want to do that or not. Or sorry, not tie rods, the struts. The struts that make that connection. And kind of considering also they have like a side skirt for my car that goes under the side skirts that are already on it. It's not like as much of an aero kit like Cam has on his build, but it's like it's just like an extra 1/2 inch lip that sticks out a little bit and kind of gives it an aggressive look from the side. So I may be doing that. And then for the rear, after we lower it, we'll see if I want to go with anything on the back.
Okay. Cam, your aero kit, does it change the way your car drives?
I would say it does a little bit. It would be more, I guess you'd be able to tell more of a difference if you were to say track it on like a circuit or something like that. You'll probably see more of an impact. You can tell a little bit. We usually do some canyon cruises. We'll be flying through there a little bit. But you can definitely tell it has a little bit of an effect on the car as far as the handling. And match that with the airbag suspension, it's definitely a difference in the handling.
Being that they're sports cars, basically, muscle cars,
Yeah.
do your airbags offset some of the rigid ride that you would get in your traditional, like your Vet,
Yeah.
in some of your other sporty cars? They're kind of rigid to ride in.
Yeah.
Does the airbags take that rigidness out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I first put them on, I could immediately tell like the ride difference. Definitely a lot smoother. Being so low to the ground, you're still gonna get some of those bumps. So some of those bumps and bruises. But overall, it definitely made it, especially long drives. I mean, you're talking about going from here to Vegas. Definitely, you can tell it makes a difference. As far as like highway driving, and you're just going.
And it smooths it out, so it's a more comfortable ride.
Yeah, definitely more comfortable.
Because stock, they're not very comfortable.
Not really. Not really.
I didn't think they were. So I'm going to ask this question, and you guys can each give me an answer. And we'll start with you, Jace. How would you like to see SD Stangs to be remembered in 10 years from now?
Honestly, I would like the club to be remembered the same way it's known right now, for being a family-friendly and family-based club. We're very big on, being able to bring your children, any family friends around. We all want to get to know each other, and, like I said, it's a really good and healthy environment to be around. So that's, I would say, one of the biggest things we're known for. And the other thing would be, all of the stuff we do to support the community. One of the big ones I got to do was our annual autism event this year. I got to help park cars, help direct some traffic, set up some cones, run around with a walkie-talkie and donate some money. I won a raffle. It was really cool, and that's like what our club's kind of thing is supporting autism. We have multiple members in the club whose children have autism, so that's kind of why like that's the direction we go in. And then like he mentioned earlier, Sinister SoCal, their thing is breast cancer. That's like the event, or I guess the cause that they support. So we went out there, helped support them. And then I haven't gotten to do this one yet, but I know our club also does a toy drive and a homeless drive where this last year you guys pulled up in downtown with like a bunch of pizzas or something, right?
Yeah,
and fed
pretty
a bunch of homeless.
Yeah, we'll usually do that every year around like November, usually November or a little bit earlier. We'll do the sleeping bag drive for the homeless. So we'll go downtown San Diego. We'll gather up. We post it all over social media. We take donations from anywhere, and we're super thankful for everything that we usually get.
Where do they reach you for the donations?
For donations, it'll be on Instagram. It's going to be our main page at SD Stangs. That links us straight to our president, and then he kind of just divvies it out from there to the club members, our supporting members, and then we kind of figure out the donations from there. But yeah, we do that every year. We have a autism awareness event, so we do raffles. Basically, try to raise as much money as we can to support autism through there. Another thing we do is a toy drive for Julian. So we'll drive up there, take a nice cruise, drop off whatever toys we get for whatever kids we can. That's the main thing that we do out in the community. But main thing, like Jace said, definitely trying to be remembered as more than just a car club.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole goal. It's like, yeah, cool. We drive some pretty badass cars, we modify them and everything, but trying to just be remembered as bigger than that. We're not out here doing takeovers, hitting people with cars,
right.
Blocking emergency vehicles. We're not doing any of that. We're out here, modifying our cars, going to car shows, and we're just trying to support our community.
Yeah.
So
well said.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Favorite Mustang, year or model?
Oh, you can go first. I gotta think.
All right, so I might get a little bit hated on. Obviously, the vehicle I purchased, my S197, that's my childhood favorite car. But for the answer I'm gonna give you is a classic Mustang that is one of the most hated Mustangs, and that is the 1970s Mach 1 Mustang. A lot of people hate it because it's such a long boat with a really big rear end. A lot of people kind of call it, ugly and stuff, but that was actually, to me, one of the coolest looking Mustangs because of how diverse and unique it is. And it's not a classic Mustang that you ever see. It is so rare. You'll see, the 60s Mustangs and then the late 70s and 80s, Mustangs, but you will not see the Mach 1s around. But it is probably, I want to say, one of like the coolest Mustangs to be inside of and drive. That's a classic Mustang. I got to do out in Oregon when I went up there a few years back for a vacation with my buddy. His grandpa had one and it was bright yellow, but oh my god, driving through the switchbacks in Oregon in that Mach 1 Mustang was like, you know what, this is awesome. So it's just a personal connection I have with the car. Another reason I fell in love with Mustangs was that, and that car has a lot of history too. It's kind of when they made the Mach 1 was when they're like, all right, we're gonna stop doing some of these like inline Mustangs with the 6 cylinders and then the V8s, and it was still a V8 Mustang, but they did some other stuff like stronger lifters, pistons that were forged, some other internals, and that to make it the Mach 1 Mustang was like kind of a step below the Shelby from later years.
Okay. All right, Cam, it's on you.
I'm gonna have to say favorite is the S550 GT350. So they made them through, I believe, 2016 to 2020. It's the lower Shelby, I guess you could call it. They have the GT500. But that car is honestly like one of a kind. You have a 5.2 liter, 500 and almost 30 horsepower, and the sound is just amazing. I mean, it's like you can tell right away, like if you were just here down the street, like exactly what it was. Revs up to 8,200 RPM. I mean, it's just screaming. We had a couple in the club way back when I first joined. But unfortunately, those members went to different states. But I love when we have those cars. I hope we get one soon in the club because we don't have one right now. But definitely a dream car. Not too much of a personal connection, but just seeing them at some of the shows we go to, and then seeing them or hearing them go down the road, I'm just like, man, that is the like purest Mustang experience you can have, in my opinion.
A little bit of input on that vehicle actually is known for being the best sounding American-made V8.
Yeah.
It's from even other car owners like Dodge owners and Chevy owners that I know with amazing cars have said that GT350 has a flat plane crank in it that just causes the vehicle to make a very unique sound. Like he said, it's a high idling car, and it screams bald eagles and American flags. It really is an amazing sounding vehicle.
Yeah.
That's probably my second. That's my number 2 right there for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Over the GT.
Let's get a little controversial.
Okay.
What about the new Mustang? How you guys feel about that? I mean, is it a car that we should talk about? I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of the E cars at all,
Gotcha.
or the E industry. I think there's some good, but I think there's more bad. You guys are true car guys.
All right, I hate what's going on with the electric cars and like just like even like, you know, I'm not gonna get political, but like Gavin Newsom trying to make things like all electric in California is just kind of like a joke. But you know, my boss, my employer that I work for, had a Mach-E Mustang for the last 4 years. And, you know, when I first pulled up, I had actually an older 2005 S197 black 4.0 V6 Mustang. And, you know, because I wanted an S197 really bad, didn't have 30 grand for a brand new 5.0, but I had 3 grand for, you know, a beater V6 Mustang that, you know, I could play around with and learn how to wrench on that frame at least. So, you know, I went in for my interview and I saw this Mach-E Mustang, and he was like, "Oh, you're a Mustang guy?" He was like, "Me too. Did you see mine out there?" And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get hired because I didn't have a good reaction to it. But you know, 2 days later, after my first day on the job, he was like, "Hey, I need you to go to a Home Depot for me and pick up some stuff." And he was like, "Wait, I'm gonna come with you, and you're gonna drive my Mustang." And I was like, "Oh, like I don't know if I'm gonna like this or not." And we went out on the freeway, and he was all like, "Pin it as hard as you can." And I will say, these electric vehicles, they have some G-force that'll put you in your seat a little bit, but that Mustang has an auto braking system on it. So as soon as you let off of, well, it doesn't even have a throttle. As soon as you let off of the pedal, you start auto braking, and I do not like it one bit, personally.
Well, 4-strokes have an engine brake.
Yeah, it's different though. The way that it feels, it doesn't feel the same. You know.
So it's unnatural.
It's very unnatural. It doesn't feel like when you hop inside of a naturally aspirated V8 and you start driving it, shifting a clutch, banging gears, you're one with that car, and it feels like you're riding a horse. It feels like you're riding a Mustang. You know, like you feel in tune with something. And then that vehicle, you know, obviously it's like you're driving a vehicle, but it doesn't feel right, in my opinion.
No vibration,
No,
no sound.
dude.
Okay,
You know?
Cam, come on now. You got. I could tell you're a little more reserved.
Yeah,
You maybe not want to. You maybe not want to get into it with the E people.
It's honestly, as far as the driving experience, yeah, it's a little weird to not have an exhaust note, or vibrations or anything like that. But I drove one and I was like, honestly, it was pretty amazing. It was different. And I think it was different in a good way. I would definitely have one as like a daily driver if I wanted to. But yeah, it was just different. Like the infotainment, the interior, everything was different. It had a different feel. But the Mustang, talking about just the Mach-E in general, I think they just should have used a different nameplate for it and not have called it a Mustang, because when you talk about Mustang or you just go out to a random person, you mentioned Mustang, they're thinking two-door coupe, V8, makes burr sounds. Okay, not as an electric SUV that doesn't make any sound at all.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, it's a great vehicle. I think the only thing they should have changed was just the nameplate that they used for it.
Yeah.
Don't call it a Mustang. They could have just called it the Mach-E, for example.
Yeah.
So that's the only part I think they went wrong. Other than that,
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
So
it is very luxurious. I do have to say that when I
Yeah.
was driving it, you definitely get like that European feel of luxury.
yeah,
Panoramic roof.
yeah,
It is luxurious. Ford obviously did a good job
yeah.
tackling that, but
Just don't call it a Mustang.
yeah.
There you go.
That's
There you go.
it.
What's the most underrated Mustang color?
I gotta say yellow.
Think so?
Yeah, any type of like bright yellow, I think is pretty underrated.
Yeah.
Driving around, you honestly don't really see a lot of yellow ones. The newer body style, the S650, which are your 2024 and up, you see a lot more. But before those came out, you didn't really see too many. And I also do like my original color, which is silver. I think a lot of people sleep on silver cars.
Yeah. I think that silver/gray is in the charcoal gray. That's definitely the most I wouldn't say underrated, but it's definitely like the most like kind of least common. People don't really like. That's not a color that makes people want to pull the trigger on that Mustang.
They say the number one color of a car sold is silver.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's more like SUVs though.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
it was a study years back.
Yeah.
But the cars,
Mhm.
they sold more silver cars.
Yeah.
I've heard that
Yeah.
before actually.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So, best song to blast while you're driving your Mustang. Go ahead, Cam.
Oh, best song. That is crazy. Honestly, I'm an old head a little bit, even though I'm only 27. But "Return of the Mac" by Mark Morrison. It's a classic.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the best songs.
Okay.
Close second is Ice Cube. It Was a Good Day.
Yeah.
Drop your windows, California sunset, and you're just cruising, bumping that song. Nothing can beat it.
For mine, I must have to say my number one is probably going to be "Kickstart My Heart" by Motley Crue. There's something about just ripping down the freeway, hearing something like that, and it's like almost feels like that song was meant for that car. And then my other one is kind of like a similar take on what Cam said, "California Love" by Tupac. Driving down the coast, bumping something like that is just like, it doesn't get any better.
I'm going to have to contradict all of it and go with Kansas or Journey.
That's
All
fair,
right.
That's fair.
But that's archaic compared to you guys.
Yeah.
And
Right?
the '60s Mustang.
But right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, for sure.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that is when one of my brother would take me to school and he was driving this Mustang. That's what he'd be blaring is either Kansas or Journey. So it's just cool songs back from the day. So as we get close to wrapping up here, what's your favorite, manual or automatic?
Oh.
So before you answer the question, your traditional belief for a GT50 is a standard transmission, because that's where it's the real car guy is going to have in his Mustang is a 5-speed, but tradition for you, automatic or?
I think, yeah, traditional, definitely manual. Obviously nowadays everybody kind of wants to go fast, so you lean into the auto. I do have the 10-speed auto. I will admit it's fast. But if the MT82s weren't so garbage that they put in there, I probably would have got a manual car. And that goes into feeding what we talked about earlier with the GT350.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting a 6-speed Tremec, and it's just like, it's raw. It's what the Mustang was meant to be.
Yeah.
Is it more of a driver's car?
It's definitely a driver's
Yeah.
car. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, I would say Mustang, like traditional, yeah, you want that manual, that 5-speed,
sure.
that 6-speed, like without a doubt.
Same answer?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? For me, I grew up driving manual cars, riding dirt bikes. I was very familiar with the clutch. You know, I actually got to drive a 2009 GT Mustang a while back. That was one of my buddy's dads, and they had a big property with a big asphalt, not driveway, but kind of like an asphalt pad on their property, and whenever it would rain or, you know, just be a little bit wet outside, he would let us go put it around right there, and there was nothing like just, you know, starting to do a donut, throw it in second gear, being able to play with the clutch, do some donuts in a Mustang. I was like 11 years old, and, you know, it was really cool, and I always wanted a manual Mustang after that. But you know what I do for work, sometimes I might have to, you know, take my Mustang to go give an estimate really far and then have to be in traffic for a long time coming back. Don't really want to do that in a manual car. Also, my car, unless you were getting the Shelby GT500, I didn't have 60 grand or 100 grand. I only had, you know, what I could afford for a car payment, you know, getting my Mustang, being young. So I did not want the MT82 transmission because I have friends that are on their fourth one, but they're also twin turboed, supercharged, throwing a lot more power at them. And, you know, I know how much fun I want to have with my car, and I don't want to have to be going through clutch plates and gears that often. So I went with the 6R80. 4 months after buying the car, the 6R80 is the automatic version that they made for my car. I wish they made the 10-speed because, oh my God, Ford outdid themselves with that 10-speed. Crazy. Like, you're competing with Hellcats on a 5.0 with the 10-speed with some other modifications. And my 6R80, I blew up the stock transmission 4 months after owning it. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do what we can do. I went with every upgrade you can throw at a 6R80 transmission. We did high energy clutch plates, stage 3 torque converter, pretty much like, it's like you have your ECU for your car, and then your transmission kind of has like an ECU that goes with it.
It has a brain.
Yeah, it has its own brain. Yeah, it's not an ECU, but that's what it is. And so we went with that, stage 3, and then, you know, a few other internal parts. The 5th and 6th gear drum is double welded, shaved back, and then rebrazed. And then same thing with the 3rd and 4th drum. And then the 1st and 2nd is re-welded 3 times, pushed back, and rebrazed. So that way you don't snap any of those gears when you're pushing 700 horsepower plus, revving it all the way to, you know, 7 grand RPMs.
I was thinking you just keep your foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
So, in closing, if we're going to talk to the youth group, what are you going to tell them to bring them out to a show or to a meet? What would you say to them?
I would say just pull up to any of the meets. Go to your local car meet or your local car show. Just look at the cars. You know, it doesn't have to be specifically a Mustang, but if you're into cars or you want to get into the automotive scene, just check out your local scene first. Go to a car meet, talk to people. That's the biggest thing, you know.
Yeah.
You have to get out, you have to talk to people, you have to get people's opinions on stuff and see what you really like. Go look around. A lot of people out here, at least, have a lot of custom stuff. So go out there, see what you like. You might not like a Mustang, you might like a Hellcat, you might like a Camaro, you might like a Supra. I don't know. But yeah, just get out there, talk to people, meet people, get kind of that community feeling. And yeah, just go out there and talk to people, learn about the cars, and then go from there. See what you like.
Beans that you guys aren't that much difference in age, but there is a gap. What would you tell people more in your age bracket that are coming pretty close to just coming out of high school, maybe in the middle of their college career or college time? What would you tell them?
You know, just be respectful. It's unfortunate. A lot of, other people my age and my generation kind of aren't, raised as traditional as I was, nor respectful. And I would just say, try to be respectful if you're going to come out. Talk to people, just like Cam said. Don't pull up trying to swing it all sideways, doing donuts and hit anyone's car. Just pull up, park your car. That looks better to us, than trying to be ignorant. And, just come out. And I think that it would be really cool to get some more younger people. We have a few other people in the club, actually a little bit younger than I, trying to prospect in. Very mature. They're working very hard to build their cars, and they have a goal set in mind, and we're all thriving.
So I'm not a car guy, I'm a truck guy, and I want to come out and look at your cars. How are you guys going to take it when I roll up in a pickup, that's really not modded, but I'm there to check out your your hot rods? I mean, that's basically what you guys are driving nowadays. Is modern hot rods.
Yeah, we're gonna, it's nothing bad. We have several car meets where we're competing with other trucks and just other people. With there's a couple clubs where they're all lifted trucks with big rims, street princess trucks, and then you got the lowered F-150s that got the superchargers on them that pull up. There's trucks are super involved in the San Diego car scene.
Well, you guys got to stay in touch with us.
Yeah.
Here at ATV-TALK. How can they find you on Instagram, Cam?
So Instagram on there is going to be at Mando3_5.0. You can also find the SD Stangs club page. It's just at SD Stangs. No spaces, no caps, anything like that. But yeah, that's my personal. And then obviously check out the club page. We got a lot of good stuff on there.
How do they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at 19 Jace. That's JACE 04. 19 Jace 04 on Instagram. My kind of like mini handle is Wet50. And I got a lot of cool content on there. Some collab posts with the main page, and at SD Stangs for any big stuff, big club events, and also at Only Stangs is our VP's branding here.
Yeah.
Check that out too. We got Mustangs from all over the world collab with us on there. So yeah.
That's awesome. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for coming out today.
Yeah.
I really appreciate all the information on cars. I know that we're an ATV motorsports podcast.
Yeah.
Most people forget that we are a motorsports podcast because
Right.
we're motorsports enthusiasts. Hello, I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Welcome to a new episode of ATV-TALK, a motorsports podcast. Please join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you interviews with industry professionals, live events, live news about the motorsports industry in every episode. Enjoy the show.